everyone. In this session, we are going to discuss about Chapter 8 Heavenly Bodies. So, actually, in this chapter, you will learn some interesting things about the Earth and the Moon. Do you know how the Earth looks like from the inside of its surface? Let's find out. The layers of Earth. The Earth is more than 4 billion years old. It is almost spherical in shape. It is made up of three main layers: crust, mantle, and core. Crust, it is the outer layer of the Earth. It is a thin layer between 0 to 60 kilometer thick. The crust is the solid rock layer upon which we live. Mantle, it is the widest section of the Earth. It has a thickness of approximately 2,900 km. It is made up of solid and molten rock. It contains iron and magnesium. Core, it is the center and the hottest part of the Earth. The core is divided into outer core and inner core. The outer core part is about 2,300 km thick. It contains iron and nickel in molten state. The inner core part is about 1200 km thick. It is a solid ball almost entirely made up of iron. The sun. We already know a lot about the sun. The sun is a big ball of hot burning gases. It has a thin layer of air around it called corona. It is also made up of hydrogen and helium gases. This process results in the emission of light and heat. That is how we get light and heat. Now we are going to see about planets. We know that the Sun, the 8 planets and their satellites along with other heavenly objects and the other materials form the solar system. Let us study some of the characteristics of the 8 planets, starting with Mercury. Mercury is the closest planet to the Sun. It takes 88 days to complete one orbit around the Sun and does not have any natural satellite. Natural satellite is nothing but a moon. It doesn't have a moon. Venus, hottest and brightest planet, takes about 24 days to orbit around the Sun. This also does not have any moon, but this is the second planet which is situated after Mercury and before Earth. Earth, as we know already, is the place where we live, and this is the third planet. It is the only planet that supports life. It is also called blue planet because 70% of its surface is covered with water. It takes about 365 days to go around the sun. It has one moon. Mars, which is next to Earth, is called the red planet. It has one moon. It takes about 687 days to go around the sun. Jupiter, which is after Mars, it is the largest planet of the solar system. It is the giant planet covered by thick clouds of gas. It takes about 12 years to orbit once around the sun. It has 67 moons. Saturn, it is the second largest planet. It is surrounded by rings made up of ice, rocks, and dust particles. It takes 30 years to go around the Sun. It has 62 moons. Uranus. It is the third largest planet. It is the first planet that was discovered using a telescope. It contains many gases such as methane. It takes 84 years to go around the Sun. It has 27 moons. Neptune. It is the fourth largest planet of which is farthest from the Sun. It experiences fast glowing storms and fast blowing storms. It takes about 165 years to go around the sun. It has many moons. The Moon. It is the only natural satellite of the Earth. It is about 384,000 kilometers away from the Earth. The Moon is about one quarter of the size of the Earth. It does not have any light of its own and shines because the light of the sun falls on it. This is because the Moon is much closer to us than the Sun. Surface of the Moon. The surface of the Moon is cold and dry. It has big mountains and deep holes called craters. There is no water or air on the Moon. The lack of air means that no sound can be heard on the Moon. This is because sound waves travel in air. Objects feel light on the Moon. Like the Earth, Moon also has gravity. Astronauts can walk easily on the Moon carrying their equipment. This is because the force of gravity on the Moon is 6 times less than that which is in the Earth. Gravity is the force of a larger object that pulls a smaller object towards itself. The gravity force of Moon is 1 by 6 of the Earth's gravity force. For example, if you weigh 60 km on Earth, you would only weigh about 10 kg on Moon. The Moon exerts less gravitational force than the Earth. Weight is the force when an object is pulled towards the center of the Earth or any other celestial body. This force is called the gravitational force. Landing on the Moon. There have been many missions to the Moon. On July 20, 1969, American astronaut Neil Armstrong became the first man to set foot on the Moon. He was a part of the Apollo 11 space mission and was accompanied by astronauts Edwin Aldrin and Michael Collins. Neil Armstrong's first words on the Moon were, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." He was joined on the surface of the Moon by Edwin Aldrin. The research that they carried out on the Moon helped us to know more about our nearest neighbor in the space. Phases of the Moon. The Moon has no light of its own. It shines because it reflects the sun's light. The different phases of the Moon are due to the light of the sun falling on the different portions of the Moon as it moves around the Earth. The apparent changing shapes of the Moon during the month are called phases of the Moon. This diagram shows the Moon's phases. It looks complicated, but if you study it carefully, you will understand how we see phases of the Moon. Sunlight is shown coming in front of the right. As you can see in this, the Earth is at the center of the diagram. The Moon is shown at 8 key stages during its revolution around the Earth. The Moon phase name is shown alongside the image. The line from the Earth to the Moon represents your line of sight when looking to the Moon. The large Moon image shows what you would see at the point in the cycle. One important thing to notice is that exactly one half of the Moon is always illuminated by the Sun. We can see only that part of the Moon which reflects the light of the Sun. New moon is a phase when the side of the moon facing the earth reflects no sunlight. We cannot see the moon. Crescent moon. When a small portion of the moon can be seen, it is called as crescent moon. Half moon. When the moon is at 90-degree angle with respect to this earth and the sun, and we are seeing exactly half of the moon illuminated and half in a shadow. Gibbous moon is a phase when more than half of the moon is visible, though not all of it is seen. Full moon is when the entire side of the moon facing the sun gets sunlight. We can see the full moon. While the moon appears to grow, we say it is waxing. When it appears to shrink back to a new moon, it is said to be waning. The moon takes 27.3 days to complete one revolution around the earth. It takes the same amount of time to spin on its own axis as well. Lunar Eclipse. The lunar eclipse occurs during night. Earth moves between the sun and the moon is completely hidden by the shadow of the earth. Solar eclipse. Solar eclipse occurs during the day. The moon moves between the earth and the sun. The sky slowly gets dark as the moon moves in front of the sun. The moon blocks the sun's light from reaching the surface of the earth. Artificial satellites. The moon is the natural satellite of the earth. Man has developed scientific missions that are sent into space to orbit planets like our earth. They are called artificial satellite. For example, the first artificial satellite was Sputnik, which was launched by Soviet Union in 1957. Aryabhata was India's first artificial satellite to be sent into space. It was sent in April 1975. Chandrayaan-1 was launched by India in the year 2008 to the orbit of the moon. Chandrayaan-2 also was launched. Most Indian communication satellites belong to INSAT GSAT 15. Most Indian communication satellites belong to INSAT. GSAT 15 is the latest satellite launched by India on November 11, 2015. We have reached the end of the session. Stay home, stay safe. Happy learning.